Should beginners keep a Duolingo streak? So this is probably going to be one that does make some people angry, but yeah, I'm basically just going to give my opinion on, is keeping a Duolingo streak a good thing for beginners? Is it useful? That kind of thing. So I'm not going to waste your time. Before I give any answers, because apparently people don't understand what an opinion is, the answer to this question is my opinion. And like all assholes, everyone has one. So don't get angry. I'm literally just going to say what I think and why I think it. If you disagree, that's fine. Shut up. No, I'm just kidding. You can leave a comment if you want explaining why you disagree, but don't be a dumbass about it. So my answer to is keeping a Duolingo streak good for beginners is yes, but with an asterisk. The asterisk is very important because that's kind of what I'm going to talk about in this whole video. So yes, if you have already started to use Duolingo as a language learner, keeping a streak is a useful way of reminding yourself to stay consistent in language learning. We know consistency is extremely important. Without consistency, you'll make literally no progress. And keep having a streak of some sort is not necessarily the best way, but it is a way of staying consistent because you don't want to lose your streak, for example, and you can have like a reminder on your phone or anything like that. So yes, if you do already use it, keeping a streak is better than nothing. Okay, I've said it. Don't shoot me. Don't leak my address. Don't brick my house. But, however, the thing about Duolingo is that it is not the meta to language learning. So by meta, I mean most effective tactic available. The best thing you can do to achieve a goal to get from point A to B. Duolingo isn't that for language learning, nor is it the best way to hold yourself accountable and consistent. So whilst you can keep your streak, I'm not saying you have to lose the streak on purpose. There are better ways to do it, and you should always be trying to, as a learner, move towards something more useful. So instead of just, trying to do the same thing to get better at language, you should always be trying to find better ways to make progress in a language. So what is more useful as a language learner than a Duolingo streak? And the answer is something I've just made a video on, which is a habit tracker. So a language learning habit tracker I've found is probably the best way to stay consistent in anything really, but in language learning especially, and it's way, way better than a Duolingo streak. And I'll give you the 3 reasons why a habit tracker is good and how that doesn't really apply to a Duolingo streak. So the number one reason why a habit tracker is good is win stacking. So I'm not going to start off with anything negative. Win stacking is basically when you continually do something. If you set yourself a goal, for example, and you don't achieve it, you feel kind of bad, right? But when you do achieve it, you've actually upheld your own integrity and you feel good. That is win stacking. So when you look on the habit tracker, I've got a picture of one here. This isn't a language learning one. This is just a popular one from James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. But as you can see, when all the squares are colored in, it kind of motivates you because you can see the previous days you've managed to it is kind of a streak as well, but you can see that you have actually been consistent, and that increases your motivation, it ups your frequency, and it makes you want to continue going with whatever habit you set yourself. So win stacking is definitely a good thing. Accountability as well. It's harder to skip tasks. Yes, a Duolingo streak is kind of accountability as well. This is the one that it kind of has like a half melted version of. However, because it's on your phone, and I mean, you really shouldn't be on your phone all day anyway, and it's in the app, it isn't as good of a system of accountability as a habit tracker, because with a habit tracker, you're going to have a physical one sitting on your desk somehow, and you can also make it your lock screen as well if you want, but that's a little bit extreme. I don't personally do that. So when you have the habit tracker on your desk, it's a much better way of making sure you don't skip tasks, because not only do you actually write down the specific habit, like for example, listen to 1 episode of a podcast, read 1 chapter of a book, do 1 deck of flashcards before bed. That alone is good, because having a Duolingo streak is just saying, okay, I did something on Duolingo each day, whereas the habit tracker is saying, okay, I performed this very specific task that is bringing me closer to my goal of learning a language. That is better. But yeah, it's also just harder overall to skip tasks because it's harder to ignore. And you also kind of, I think something about having a physical one is just better overall. Third reason is problem solving as well. So when you miss a Duolingo streak, it's not really that big of a deal. You might reset your entire streak. Some people have meltdowns about it, but who really gives a crap? With a habit tracker, the difference is that with Duolingo, the reason you missed your streak is just because you missed your streak, like you just didn't go onto the app and do 1 lesson. With a habit tracker, if you see, okay, I'm missing the reading 1 chapter of a book, for example, you can actually problem solve and realize, okay, I keep missing this, or I missed it once or whatever, because I didn't allow myself enough time to read a chapter of a book, or because I lost the motivation to do it and I decided to give up. And so you can actually problem solve and identify what the consistent reason that's blocking you from doing this is, and move your day around in a way that allows you to no longer keep missing that. So for example, if I've set reading a chapter of the book right at the end of the day when I'm really tired and I keep missing it, like say 3 days in a row, I can realize, okay, the reason I'm missing it is because I'm really tired and I just want to go to bed and I don't feel like reading. Okay, let's move it. I might move it to right before lunch and tell myself that I'm going to do this before lunch and I don't eat until I've read a chapter of the book. And that might help. That's just a hypothetical example, but yeah, that is how you would problem solve. Definitely check out my video on how to use a habit tracker as well. I'll have that pop up on the screen right now. It is literally a free win. It will help you so much with staying consistent, making progress in a language. But yeah, this can be in addition to a Duolingo streak as well. So having a habit tracker doesn't mean you have to deliberately lose your Duolingo streak. I would never say you don't have to lose it on purpose. What I would do apparently is not put a closed bracket at the end of that. That's just, I always notice all the stupid things I do in the video. Sorry. But yeah. You can have the Duolingo streak as well if you want. I don't really care. If it makes you happy, go for it. But yeah, Duolingo is not the meta. It's not the most effective tactic available. Make sure you are constantly improving, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend you use a habit tracker. So definitely check out my video on that if you want to boost your progress as a language learner. Bottom line, guys, Duolingo, in my opinion, is an excellent way for beginners to ease into language learning. It's better than nothing. And having a Duolingo streak can be kind of useful for beginners to, start off being consistent in a language when they've never done that before. However, you do need to remember to keep improving your system of learning, because if you're only on like Duolingo level 0 language learning, you're really not going to make that much progress. So yeah, if you like this video, guys, definitely drop a like and subscribe. It does really help the channel and it makes me feel better about all the work I put in for free. So yeah, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, tips and tricks of your own, comment them down below and I try and respond to everything. And yeah, Discord link in the description if you want to chat to me. My website link in the description with my coaching if you're interested. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.